Hey, it's Lily. Let's just listen to a story together. Today's story is about a wife who thought she had the perfect family in a quiet coastal town. But then, secret money transfers started showing up, and her husband had no idea. Behind those transfers was a man she shouldn't have trusted, and a past she thought she'd left behind. This is a story of lies, secrets, and a truth that changes everything. At 7:12 a.m., the bank app lit up my husband's phone on the counter with a bright blue banner. Transfer scheduled. He didn't see it. I did. The toaster hissed beside me. The kettle sang, and the gulls outside screamed like they knew I was about to drop the plate. The alert showed €300 to an unfamiliar account ending in 74. A second alert followed, €450 to the same account, and my name sat beside the transaction like a fingerprint I'd tried to wipe off a window and just smeared wider. "Coffee or tea?" Daniel asked, back to me, sleeves rolled to the elbows. He smelled like laundry soap and ocean air. Our kitchen window cracked to the damp. He hummed the news jingle like always, the way dads do when they think mornings can be conquered with optimism and a good pour-over. "Tea," I said. My voice didn't sound like mine. It had a wobble. Mia would call it a sea leg voice. She was 14 and had a name for everything. Leo shuffled in with sleep marks on his cheek. Hair a storm. "Bus is late again," he muttered, grabbing the Nutella and strolling out of the kitchen like the house was a self-serve cafe. Mia followed with prompts about a biology quiz and whether she could post a photo of the tide pools, if I cropped the part where my sock is muddy. Daniel kissed the top of my head, said, "Big day today?" And I nodded into the steam. Our town doesn't try to be anything but itself. Salt hangs in curtains over the harbor. The bakery chalkboard outside says, "Back by 11 if the oven behaves." You can hear the foghorn from the point even when the sun is a bright coin. We chose it because it felt safe for raising teenagers, and because Daniel's commute to the city was a pleasant hour on the train instead of a grind. He teaches business law at the college. People stop him in the grocery store and ask what the difference is between a lien and a loan. He laughs and answers. Daniel knows how to make complexity feel polite. "Hey," he said, phone in his pocket now, one hand on my hip. "Can you pick up the dry cleaning?" "I need the navy jacket for tomorrow." "I'll grab it," I said, adding dry cleaning to the list on the fridge under milk. Mia's inhaler refill, Leo's cleats, pay internet bill. The small domestic liturgy of care that keeps a family from fraying. The list used to feel like proof of love. Lately it feels like climate. Everywhere. Unremarked. A fact I breathe. Daniel left with a kiss and a joke about the gulls. The kids left in a rush of zippers and, "Where is my..." And, "I texted you the link," and a door slam that seemed to shake the shells in the jar by the sink. When it was finally quiet, I exhaled in a new, secret way. The kind of exhale you do when you shut a closet door and lean against it in the half-dark, heart clanging. I pulled Daniel's phone back off the counter. The bank app waited behind his Face ID. I knew better. I put it down. I opened mine instead. Thumbprint, code, breath held. 2 transfers sat there, scheduled, split small to look like laundry and lunches. Both to Mariner Mutual, 4826174. A name you could scroll past without a thought, which was the point. The account had been created last week under New Payees. My work. Mine. And stupidly, clearly mine. If he looked, Any bank rep could tell him the IP address, the timestamp, the device. I tasted the metal of panic at the back of my mouth. The story I'm telling is true in the way all confessions are true. I tell it to stop myself from vanishing under the weight of silence. I'm the wife. I'm the problem. And I keep asking myself if that's the whole truth. I started to feel invisible the year Leo topped me in height, and Mia began correcting my grammar. The house no longer needed my hands in the same way. It was clean enough, stocked enough. I returned to part-time shifts at the bookstore on Harbor Street, where I matched people to paper like a matchmaker, and where the bell over the door told me, soft, cheerful, when someone wanted a story. Daniel praised me. The kids grunted thanks. Everyone seemed satisfied. I cried once in the car because the seat warmer came on and I felt, suddenly and absurdly, that the only warmth I got came from things I'd switched on myself. His message came in May, tucked between a shipping notification and a reminder for Leo's dental checkup. Your review of the new Ferrante was perfect, it read. You hear the undertow most people miss. Coffee sometime? I should have deleted it. Instead, I tapped the sender. N. Calder. No photo. A handle I didn't recognize. He had been in the store that week, I remembered. The man with clean hands and a cedar scent, buying a book of poems and asking whether the harbor ever freezes. He spoke gently, the way you speak to animals that might bolt. I'd said no, not unless a miracle happened. He'd smiled like he understood exactly what I'd just confessed without meaning to. We met on a Tuesday, late morning, when the town moved slow. In the cafe, he held the door and glanced up as the bell chimed. You came, he said, softly, not as a conquest, but as a relief. We sat where we could see the water. He listened like the rest of the world had gone on silent mode. When I spoke about the kids, he asked follow-ups. When I mentioned the book club I'd abandoned because it turned into a competition for who could dislike things most, he laughed and said, That's not a club, that's a firing squad. I told myself it was friendship. No boundary crossed. But the heart recognizes accelerants. Within weeks, coffee turned into walks to the point, then a rented studio above the pottery shop, the kind of secret room you think exists only in novels. His name settled into my phone as N. He sent me voice notes that ended with a faint exhale like he was about to say my name and thought better of it. He noticed when I cut my hair. He texted pictures of the tide line like he had a private agreement with the sea to let him in on its moods. I told myself I had earned attention. I told myself it didn't require subtraction from anyone else. The mind is acrobatic when desire hands it a net, the money. This is where it becomes less like a romance and more like a spreadsheet with nerves. It started with a misplaced card reader at the studio he was subletting. The landlord is old school, he said, embarrassed. He wants bank transfers. I can't set up the payee without waiting a few days for approvals, and I'm late. He looked genuinely chagrined, patting his pockets like a man who'd lost his pen and half his confidence. I hate asking. Could you? I'll pay you back this afternoon. 250 euros the first time. A test. My heart hammered as I typed account numbers. My name on the confirmation screen framed by the polite UI blue. He sent me a screenshot of a return transfer that never hit. Bank hiccup. He swore the next day. Cheeks flushed. The same gentle shame that had hooked me the first time. I'll clear it. I promise I believed him because belief is a lever, and I had already decided I wanted to move the world. There were other reasons. Ornate excuses I can dress up for you if you want. Daniel's distracted kindness that felt like a perfect hotel, immaculate but impersonal. The way the kids had started to form their own orbits, the bookstore cutting our hours, just for the summer, which left me feeling like a folding chair someone kept moving around. I was not starved, but I was not seen. If guilt had a smell, it would be like the seaweed when the tide goes out, clean and rotten in the same breath. It followed me home. It lay beside me at night when Daniel's breathing went even in the 2 a.m. dark. Some mornings, when the sky went white and seabirds stitched black lines over the harbor, I wanted to wake him and pour out everything. But then the day would begin. The weather, the email about Leo's team needing drivers, the group chat planning a neighborhood cleanup, and confession would feel like setting a bonfire in our living room for light we didn't need. The transfers got bolder because habit is always hungry. 300 euros, 400 euros, splits and schedules, little gusts of numbers that would look like grocery runs if you squinted. I deleted the payee once and added it back a week later, telling myself that made it temporary. He promised me like a child promising to be careful on the rocks. He said, "I hate this. I'm not this man." He said, "The bank is archaic." He said, "The project will land any day," and then he never finished the sentence cleanly. He preferred ellipses. My phone kept his messages under hide alerts. My watch buzzed. I ignored it. He started sending me photos of a light-filled office he'd toured in town, claims about a consulting gig with the Marina Board. "It will be ours," he wrote once, then edited to, "It will be right." I stared at the change until the screen dimmed. I didn't need hours. I needed right. On Thursday, the town was sweating under a rare inland heat. I stood in the kitchen with ice on the back of my neck and watched Mia through the window practicing guitar on the back steps. Concentration stuck to her forehead in a glitter of flyaway hairs. Leo had a texting rhythm, tap, pause, tap, that sounded like a code only people under 20 understood. Daniel texted from campus a photo of a crooked parking job with, "Guess who? Me." I sent back a laughing emoji. It's astonishing how well you can perform your life with pieces of yourself missing. That night, after pasta and after the dishwasher's first groan, I went upstairs to switch the laundry. Daniel followed with his laptop, said he needed to check the syllabus for an adjunct he was advising. "You've been magic this week," he said, peering into the dryer like it might produce doves. I feel like we're good, you know? He meant the big we, the marriage we, not the tonight we. He meant stable, not smoking. Pride lifted into my throat and died there. "We are," I said, and something in me folded its wings. I woke at 3:19 to the sound of my own name. I don't know if Daniel said it or if some part of me called out to the rest. The house was blue with streetlight and window shade. I padded downstairs in my robe and sat at the kitchen table with the ugly honesty of my phone. 2 scheduled transfers for tomorrow. I could cancel them. I could wake him and tell him everything. I could text N and say, "This is over. Send back what you owe, or don't. Either way, we're done." When I unlocked the screen, a new message waited from N. "Got the email. Might be complicated. Don't panic. Complicated how?" I typed and erased the question 4 times. He didn't respond. The gulls began before the sun, those ridiculous ancient mourners with knife beaks and comic timing. I made tea and watched the harbor take on color, a watercolor curse, At 7:12, Daniel's bank alert danced onto the counter again like a blue fish. Transfer scheduled. And I flinched like it had bitten me. I moved toward him to say stop, to say I've done something stupid. He reached for his mug first, then for his phone. He frowned. Just a tick, a coin landing tails, and smiled again. "Babe," he said, cheerful. "Did you already pay the internet?" "I got a notification about a transfer." "Yes," I lied, and my voice was steady now, as if practice had made it a skill. "They changed billing." "Okay," he said easily, and kissed my forehead, and the relief that he believed me made me want to throw up. That afternoon, I walked to the point to meet N. The wind was up, snapping flags straight. The lighthouse had that indifferent look it gets, as if it's tired of being a metaphor. I texted, "Where are you?" He wrote back, "Running late. Coffee shop? 10. In the cafe, the bell chimed a dozen times. I sat with my back to the door because I didn't want to see the shape of him and feel my face betray me to the barista who knows everyone's business. I stared at the window's reflection and watched arrivals as reversed ghosts. When the bell chimed again, I turned to my phone instead of the door, determined not to give him the theater of my looking up. A new email banner slid across the top of the screen. From the bank, subject line, "Security notice. Unrecognized payee added. Mariner Educational Fund." Educational? Heat flooded my scalp. I tapped, scanning. My name in the salutation. The precise courtesy of bank language describing an account added from my device. Time-stamped at 6:43 a.m. A few minutes after I'd stood here telling myself I could stop. The details listed an account number that looked like the one I'd been using, but the name had shifted. Not Mariner Mutual. Mariner Educational Fund. A tiny tweak. Someone, somewhere, had changed something. The bell chimed again. A shadow slid across my table. "Hi," a voice said, close and intimate and not at all apologetic. Cedary, calm, like the sea on a day it intends to drown you without waves. "You changed the name," I said without looking up. Because if I looked up, I thought I might tell him to save me, and I was tired of needing rescue from a fire I lit. "No," he said quietly. "Not me." I lifted my eyes. He looked exactly like himself, which is to say exactly like the person I had made room for in the parts of my life labeled later. He set down a paper cup for me with my usual oat milk, 2 sugars. "We need to talk." Behind him, through the cafe window, I saw Daniel across the street, framed by the glass of the pharmacy, holding a printout in both hands like a notice of a hurricane. He looked up, scanning the sidewalk, then down at the paper again. Even from here, I recognized the bank's letterhead. He stepped out of the pharmacy and started across the street toward the cafe. N followed my gaze, then leaned in and, just under the cafe noise, under the squeak of the door and the hiss of the steamer, said, "Don't panic. Daniel called me this morning." My cup loosened in my hand. I almost dropped it. "He what?" "He thinks I manage accounts for the school foundation," N said, calm, impossible. "He asked about a Mariner Educational Fund. He said there were transfers. He's very polite." N swallowed, and for the first time since I'd met him, he looked unsure. I didn't answer him. I told him I'd call back. Outside, Daniel reached the curb and paused, looking left and right, deciding whether to enter. The bell over the cafe door lifted, and this time I didn't turn. I closed my eyes, tea trembling in my hand, and thought, I will tell the truth right now, right here, if I can shape it into words that don't end us. Mrs. Avery, said a voice I hadn't heard in years, or maybe I'd been hearing it all along in the cadence of another name. It was N, but he had said my surname the way teachers do on the first day of class. I opened my eyes and looked up at him properly, really looked, and understood, with a sickening tilt in my stomach, that the stranger I had let into my life knew me from a version of myself I thought I'd outgrown. He knew me before Daniel, before the kids, before I learned the choreography of grocery lists and dentist reminders and making a family run like a harbor clock. Across the small room, the door swung wider. The bell kept ringing. Daniel stepped inside, and I couldn't tell which man I was afraid of losing more, the husband who believed our marriage was strong, or the man in front of me who had just pronounced my name like attendance. Please, N whispered. Let me explain. Daniel looked up and saw me. He smiled, relieved, because in his head nothing was wrong yet, and lifted the paper in his hand like a trivial puzzle we would solve together. Lena, he said brightly, what's Mariner Educational Fund? The bell above us, the gulls outside, the kettle on the cafe counter. They all sounded at once, like an alarm I had set months ago finally going off. What's Mariner Educational Fund? Daniel said it like he says everything he's never met before. Friendly, a touch curious, assuming it will introduce itself properly if he's polite enough. The cafe felt too bright. I set my cup down so carefully the lid made a whisper instead of a click. N stood beside me with his usual careful posture, hands at his sides, eyes already reading my husband's face the way you read surf, gauging what would break and what would hold. It's school-related, I said, hearing how thin it sounded, hating myself for layering more sugar over the ache. School-related, Daniel repeated, stepping closer to us, an easy smile still on his mouth. He held up the printout like it was a brochure for a boat he thought we might rent. Security notice hit my inbox. An unrecognized payee got added this morning to your login, Lena. Name of the account jumped out at me because our PTA is called Mariners, with an S. So I called the number. They asked me to verify whether we knew a Mariner Educational Fund. I thought, scholarship? Foundation? Did the PTA rebrand? Did I miss a memo? I popped into the pharmacy to print it because my eyes go buggy on the phone. He laughed softly at himself, the way men in good marriages laugh at their own mild incompetence. I wanted to hold on to that sound for the rest of my life. N didn't laugh. He nodded once, like we'd arrived at a place he'd known we were headed. There is a foundation, he said evenly. Small, new, separate from the PTA. I contract with them sometimes. He glanced at me, then back to Daniel. That's why your call came to me. Daniel's eyebrows arched. To you? N tucked his hands into his coat pockets, and for a ridiculous second, I thought of fledglings tucking their heads to survive a storm. I manage rooting for a handful of local nonprofits, he said. The foundation uses a pooled account under Mariner. My number's on file with the bank as the contact. This was not entirely untrue, or entirely true. It was fog. I could feel damp from it without seeing where the land fell away. Daniel turned to me, still smiling, trust like sunrise on his face. This is something you did for the PTA? He asked, because he wanted it to be. Or the bookstore? Did they ask you to help with deposits or... No, I said. My mouth moved slower than my thoughts. I set up a transfer last week for a space rental we used at the shop. It bounced. I re-added the payee this morning with the corrected name. That's what the notice is. I let the lies link arms so they could hold each other up. Daniel looked relieved, then rueful. I always forget how jumpy banks are, he said, as if security were an eccentric relative. I called N to ask if the name matched something real. Sorry to ambush you at coffee. He noticed the cup N had placed in front of me and grinned. At least I'm interrupting with your order. N took the opening like a man who's learned to find doorways in burning buildings. He held out his hand. I'm Nathan, he said smoothly, addressing Daniel now, soft cedar cutting through espresso. We've run into each other around town. I help on the marina board. I've been talking to the school foundation about after-school programs. We're neighbors in the loosest sense. Daniel shook his hand. That old-fashioned look-you-in-the-eye shake he uses with students who are about to ask for extensions. Daniel, thanks for taking my call. Of course. N's eyes flicked to me, just once, as if to say, breathe. Everything okay then? Daniel asked, cheerful again, folding the printout. I can call the bank back and tell them we know the name. They'll remove the flag? N nodded. I'll email them a note too. He said it like he had the authority. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. Daniel was already satisfied. The world had returned to its polite shape. The kids, Daniel said suddenly, looking at his watch. I promised I'd be home early so I can drive Leo to practice. We're roasting chicken tonight with those tiny potatoes that look like river stones. He glanced between us, affectionate and oblivious. Join us, Nathan? If you've got time. 2 extra forks never hurt. You can tell me about this after-school thing so I can brag to the neighbors that I knew about it first. N started to refuse. I saw it in the small shift of his weight, the caution. Then he saw my face, whatever I couldn't keep off it, and said, Sure. Happy to. Daniel clapped his shoulder like they were already friends. Great. 6:30? She's the better cook, he added, tipping his head at me. I'm the better dishwasher. He left in a beam of relief, the bell batting the air behind him, and with it went the little pocket of safety I had been living in. The cafe noise swelled up around us again. Milk foaming, someone's baby laughing like a squeaky toy, the gulls conducting their farce outside. I looked at N. So hard my eyes stung. You're improvising, I said. I'm containing, he replied. There's a difference. There's a fund? There's a shell, he said. A fund in process. This town does things with a handshake and a harbor view meeting before anyone files the paperwork. The name isn't fake, it's early. A shell, a fund-shaped echo. My mouth tasted like the inside of a penny. And you're the contact for it at the bank? He hesitated the length of a breath. I know the person who is, he said. And sometimes for speed, they use my number. It's messy. It won't be for long. I'm trying to get the proper approvals done. You said, don't panic. My voice shook. But this is panic. Not if you let me clean it, he said. Not if you stop scheduling transfers until I say go. I can fix this, Lena. You said that last week. I know. His mouth tightened in a shape I recognized in myself when I disappoint people I love. I deserved that. He reached forward, and for a confusing second I thought he was going to take my hand. He didn't. He lifted the cup he'd brought me and rotated it so the seam of the lid aligned with the seam of the cup. He does that with everything. Straightens, pairs edges with edges. It's one of the small, precise gestures that had first made me feel seen. "I'm coming to dinner," he said, voice lower, "because I won't leave you alone with whatever story the bank is building. And because Daniel deserves a version of me that isn't a shadow on your phone." "Don't call my husband a deserve," I snapped. He winced. "You're right. Bad phrase. I'm sorry." The apology knocked some air back into me. I began, then stopped because words choked on the thing I wanted to ask and the thing I was afraid to know. "Have we met before this?" is what I wanted to ask, like a teenager in a movie making a wish. It felt ridiculous in my married mouth. He read it, of course he did. He is good at reading things. "Dinner," he said instead. "Go home. Act normal. Cancel the transfers. I'll bring wine." "Don't bring wine," I said automatically. "Mia's on antibiotics. She can't smell it without getting nauseous." The corners of his mouth lifted. "Then I'll bring bread." "Bread," I said. "Bread," he agreed, like we'd signed a treaty. On the walk home, the town vibrated at a frequency only a guilty person can hear. The flower shop's door was propped by an old poetry book, sun bleeding the spine. The hardware store owner stood outside telling a man in a baseball cap about a line of screws that just won't quit. A gull, with a French fry from nowhere, regarded me like a jury. My phone buzzed with a text from Daniel. "Got Leo. Practice 5 to 6. Do we need anything?" I typed, potatoes, then added a heart, then deleted the heart, then put it back like I was adjusting brightness in a photo. At home, I stood in the kitchen like my body had been dropped in the wrong spot on a map. I moved through tasks, the rinse, the peel, the rub of rosemary between finger and thumb to release its scent, and it steadied me the way rituals steady people who are scared of flying. I canceled the transfers. The bank app made me answer security questions about my first concert and the color of the bike I had when I was 9. "Indigo," I wrote, smug at my own specificity, as if precision could absolve me. On the account page, the payee list had gained a lemon yellow badge. Under review. A new tab had appeared too. Devices and logins. I clicked. A list of rectangles bloomed. My phone, iPad, laptop, and at the top, the device that had added the payee at 6:43 a.m., labeled with a name that seemed to belong to me and didn't. Lena's iPhone. Copy. IP location. Somewhere 2 streets over. Like a neighbor had taken a coat identical to mine and hung it on their hook. I took a screenshot and felt something cold run under my skin. Was it a glitch? Was it Daniel's phone misnamed? Was it him? I remembered the morning in the cafe when I'd turned my phone to show him a photo of the lighthouse with all the cormorants lined up like notes on staff lines. He'd smiled, leaned in, and the phone had kissed his cheekbone in the front camera's reflection. A ridiculous, ordinary intimacy. Had he seen enough? Had I let him see? The oven beeped. I salted the chicken, tucked lemon under its wings like little yellow secrets. The door banged and Leo came in with damp hair and cleats like landmines. "Coach says I'm midfield next game," he announced, the words tumbling over each other. He grabbed a potato and bit it raw. "Gross," he pronounced and put it back on the counter. "Don't tell Mia. Wash your hands," I said. He peered at me. "Are you okay?" "Why?" "You look like when you try not to swear." "I'm roasting a bird." "It's war." He grinned and thumped upstairs, steps heavy with uncomplicated hunger. I checked the group chat from the neighborhood cleanup crew. Kathy had posted a photo of last year's beach day. All of us in sun hats pretending we didn't pick up as many beer cans as jellyfish. In the background, tiny, blurred, someone had circled a short figure in a blue jacket and added, "Is this the guy running the marina grant? Huck? Buck? Something?" The comments nested and nested, speculation layered on old gossip, and then a link to the foundation's placeholder page, a white screen with the sentence, "Mariner Educational Fund, building bridges between tide and time. Below, contact, and N's number." Mia drifted into the kitchen, guitar pick still between her fingers like an accessory. She snapped open a can of sparkling water and read over my shoulder because privacy in our house is a door that never fully shuts. "Cringe," she said of the foundation tagline, then took a sip. "Dad texted. He invited some guy for dinner. We needed a fourth for potatoes," I said, and regretted the joke immediately. She pried into the fridge for a pickle, hair falling forward in a sheet. "Do you think I should post the tide pool pics now or wait?" she asked. "The algorithm's dicey at dinner time." "Wait," I said. 8:30. She nodded solemnly, as if I'd pronounced on the moon. "Can Leo use my charger?" "He stole mine," she added without taking a breath, then flitted out like a dragonfly. The doorbell rang at 6:32. The sound threaded my ribs. Daniel shouted from the hallway, "Got it!" And I stood still, hands empty, a woman in a painting listening to her own story. En stepped in with a paper bag from the bakery and the kind of smile you wear to family dinners, soft and dutiful. Daniel took the bag and waved him in like a teammate arriving late. "Shoes off or you'll offend the commander," he said, tilting his head toward me, fond exasperation in his voice. "It's a no-sand zone." "Understood," En said, toeing off boots in slow, respectful motions that made something crack down my spine. He looked so ordinary standing in our hallway, coat on the hook with our coats, his breath a polite ghost in our space, that I wanted to scream. He handed me the bread, round, scored with 3 diagonal lines. "Olive," he said. And, "Sorry about earlier. I had no room in my body for the apology, so I placed it on the counter next to the salt like it was part of the mise en place." "Wash up," I said. "Dinner in 10. Daniel poured drinks, made En laugh about a student who had spelled ethics with a K and insisted it was British. The kids thudded in and out, introduced themselves without looking up from phones, performed their bored teen choreography, then softened, because En asked what Leo played and what songs Mia liked, and he nodded in a way that made them both talk more than they usually do with strangers. This is what he does. It's one of the things that turned me toward him like a plant to a window. At the table, I served without watching my hands. En said thank you for everything, in the old-fashioned, thorough way. Thank you for the chicken. Thank you for the potatoes. Thank you for the salad, as if naming each thing would keep it from disappearing. Daniel asked him about the marina. En talked about tidal silting and grant cycles, and fishermen feeling like the future was a rumor. He never said anything we couldn't repeat to anyone else. He didn't say anything that would place us in a story that wasn't dinner. Halfway through, Daniel's phone buzzed against the wood. He flipped it, glanced, frowned. "Bank again," he said, apologetic. "They're efficient today. Take it," I said too fast. He hit accept and put it on speaker because his hands were damp with chicken. "Daniel Avery," he said. "Good evening." a woman's careful voice said, tinny through the tiny speaker. "This is Iris from the security team at Coastal First. We're following up on a device change and payee activity on the account ending 1981. Am I speaking with Daniel and Elena Avery?" Daniel glanced at me, eyebrows lifting at the formality of my full name. "Yes," he said. "We're both here." "Wonderful," Iris intoned in that steady bank cadence that makes even your own name sound suspicious. "For your protection, we've temporarily paused outgoing transfers to Mariner Educational Fund, pending confirmation of the payee's relationship to you. We also want to verify a duplicate device labeled Lena's iPhone copy that appears to have been used to add that payee at 6:43 this morning. Do you recognize that device?" My throat closed. A tiny sound escaped me, something between a yes and a cough. Daniel reached for my hand, smile automatic. "We've had some confusion," he said lightly. "We think it's a naming error on our end. The payee is legitimate. Would you mind," Iris said, still perfectly polite, "confirming the contact person for Mariner Educational Fund?" "Our records list a Nathan Calder." Silence fell like weather. Daniel looked at N. The kids looked at me because kids are barometers and know where storms live. N lifted his chin just enough to own the name. "This is Nathan," he said, tone even. "I'm here," Iris continued, as if reading from a script written by fate. "Thank you, Mr. Calder. For additional security, we may require a quick in-person verification at a branch, or a signed letter on Mariner Educational Fund letterhead to release the holds. We've also opened an internal review of the duplicate device. In the meantime, please refrain from scheduling any further transfers. If someone else has access to your credentials, we recommend a password change." I could hear the keys of her keyboard like hail on a roof. Daniel squeezed my hand, still trusting that this was all administrative, just a little paperwork we could clean up after dessert. He leaned toward the phone. "We'll come by tomorrow," he said. "Thank you, Iris. One more note," Iris added. A notification was also sent to Elena's personal email regarding the new device. If you did not request that device, please click "This wasn't me" and follow the prompts. The call ended in a cascade of polite warnings and a reference number that felt like a case file on my soul. I realized I hadn't breathed properly in a minute. I pulled my hand back from Daniel's and stood to clear plates I hadn't finished filling. In the kitchen, the faucet hissed, the normal sound of water finding its path. My phone buzzed. A new email banner slid across the top. New sign-in detected. iPhone. Copy. Location. Ridgeview. Beneath it, another. Password reset requested. And beneath that, from an address I didn't recognize. Subject line: "You still have good taste in music." The first line of the preview read, "You always did, Lena." I clicked the bank message first, and my thumb hovered over, "This wasn't me." In the reflection of the black glass, a wavering shape of me stared back, then resolved into the oval of the kitchen window, and beyond it, a shadow on the porch. The doorbell rang a second time. Daniel, halfway to the sink with plates, called, "Can someone?" Leo, mouth full, mumbled an apology. Mia held up her phone as if to say, "My hands are full of the internet." N stood, napkin folded like an extinguished flag, and moved to the hallway. I saw his silhouette pause at the frosted glass of the front door. He turned his head slightly, as if he could see through it by listening. The bell rang again, a third time. insistence, growing teeth. "Who is it?" Daniel called. A man's voice came through the wood, muffled but clear enough to land somewhere in the back of my skull. Calm, official. "Good evening. I'm with the Mariner Education Trust. We're looking to confirm some donor activity. Is Elena Avery available?" My finger still hovered over. This wasn't me. The bank wanted a binary. The door wanted an answer. N was inches from the hinge between my two lives. He looked back at me, eyes a question and a warning. "Lena," he said softly. "Do you want me to open it?" The oven fan hummed. The rosemary scent swelled. Somewhere upstairs, a faucet dripped in a tired rhythm. My phone buzzed again. Another email. Another tug at the thread. And in the subject line of that new message was a name I hadn't seen in years. A simple, from Mr. Calder. As if the past had just RSVP'd to dinner. I lifted my thumb off the screen, not pressing yes or no, only letting the phone go dark, and felt the house tip, as if the tide under our street had reversed without telling anyone. N stood at the door with his hand on the latch, waiting for my consent like a doctor asking if he could lift a sleeve. I nodded because nodding was easier than choosing. He opened it. On the porch stood a compact man in a windbreaker with a canvas tote that said, "Read the tides" in navy block letters. He had a lanyard tucked into his pocket and a friendliness that felt rehearsed for living rooms. "Evening," he said, flashing a smile that knew it had to earn itself. "Sorry to drop by without notice. I'm Graham Pike from the Mariner Education Trust. We're doing a routine donor verification. I left a voicemail earlier. Just a quick signature and we're out of your hair." His gaze slid past N, searching. I stepped into view. "Ah, Elena Avery," he said, checking the paper on his clipboard as if my name might shift under his pen. "There were a couple of small transfers. Thank you for your support, by the way. And a hold we'd like to clear before month end. Is now a bad time?" Daniel came into the hallway drying his hands on a towel, white sleeves pushed up, the way he always does when he intends to be helpful. "No, not at all," he said, offering that easy smile that suggests the world is reasonable. "Come in. We've got company, but we're friendly." Graham stepped inside and the smell of rosemary seemed to meet him halfway. A domestic ambassador. N shifted slightly so he was between Graham and the living room. The move was subtle enough it could have been about shoes. "Nathan," Graham said, doing a miniature double take. "I didn't realize." N returned the nod. "Evening, Graham. You're doing both now?" Graham asked, mildly amused. "Marina and education?" "You must have cloned yourself." A small line in N's cheek appeared and disappeared. "There's overlap," he said. Graham laughed. "There always is." He turned to Daniel and me. "We used to bump into Mr. Calder when he was helping with, well, everything." His eyes flicked to N, with a good-natured apology. "Sorry. I know you prefer Nathan these days. Habit, Mr. Calder." The syllables landed in my ear like a coin dropped into a jar already holding others. Not quite a noise, more a weight. Mia drifted into the doorway like teenagers do, apparently uninvited by gravity. "Is this about donations?" she asked, soft with curiosity but already bored if the answer was grown-up paperwork. Graham smiled at her. "A tiny one. We just need to confirm that Miss Avery intended to list Mariner Educational Fund as the recipient. There are a lot of Mariner names in town. Mutual, Marine, Mariners with an S. We like to make sure nobody's money surfing to the wrong beach," N said, conversationally casual. The name changed in the bank system this morning. It's early days. He looked at me as he said it, as if laying a plank I could step onto. Graham nodded. Right. We've got the paper trail starting to catch up. He pulled a form from his tote and offered it with a capped pen. The header read, Mariner Education Trust. Donor intent confirmation. Below, a tidy paragraph in legal italics. I acknowledge that my transfers, dated, followed by dates that looked like little confession bells. Daniel glanced at me, a question in his eyebrows that didn't doubt me yet. N kept his face neutral. Mia, seeing nothing dramatic, retreated to her phone. Somewhere behind all of this, water churned in the dishwasher like a persistent thought. I held the pen. The room swam the way rooms do when you stand too fast. I could sign and put this moment in a box with a label that made it seem organized. I could refuse and open a door none of us could pretend we didn't see. Both felt like forms of drowning. Graham cleared his throat gently. We can also do this by email if now isn't. It's fine, I said, though my hands didn't agree. May I ask, how did you connect with Nathan? Through the trust? Graham looked up, surprised by the question's sharpness. Oh, we go back. He consulted for the district a few years ago when we started the after-school literacy pilot. Before that, he waved a hand. He was around. People who get things done never really leave, do they? Before that. The phrase cracked along an old seam in my memory. A classroom with windows facing a muddy football field. A stack of dog-eared paperbacks on a radiator. A voice that softened around certain words. Metaphor, compass, consequence. Not to show off, but to nudge you into hearing. A habit of aligning the edges of things. Handouts, chalk, the corners of a desk. So they made right angles you could trust. I looked at N. His hair was darker now, beard fuller, shoulders a little more forward from years of listening. But the mouth, when he was concentrating, still made that faint, almost smile line, as if he was about to say something encouraging, and had decided to let you find it yourself first. He felt me looking. He didn't meet my eyes. Signature right there, Graham said, tapping the line below the italics. I signed, because the part of me that keeps families going is a muscle that flexes even while it's breaking. Graham slid the form into a plastic sleeve like a school librarian protecting a paperback. Appreciated, he said, then looked at the bread on the counter. Is that the olive round from Harbor Loaf? Lucky. Want a slice? Daniel offered, because of course he did. Graham held up his hands, apologetic. I'm cutting carbs I don't earn, he joked. 2 more stops tonight. If we miss the 8 o'clock ferry, I owe my wife a movie. Thanks again. He reached the door and then turned back the way people do when a thought catches a sleeve. Oh, one other thing. Bank flagged a duplicate device on your account that appears to have triggered this. Not uncommon. Family accounts, work phones. But if you get an email asking you to click a security link, triple check the address. There's a spoof going around that looks convincing. We saw, Daniel said. We'll handle it tomorrow with the branch. Good plan. Graham gave N a tiny salute. Keep us posted, Mr. Sorry, Nathan. He grinned at himself, shook his head at his own fossilized habits, and was gone, leaving the door breathing cool air into the hallway. We stood in the delayed quiet that follows people whose jobs are to keep things moving. Daniel exhaled. Well, that felt official. He looked at me with relief and a tenderness that made my ribs ache. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," I answered. And the lie stayed intact because it wasn't about action. It was about survival. N watched me without letting his worry spill onto the floor where the kids might step in it. "Let me help with dishes," he said, moving toward the sink. "No," Daniel said automatically. "Guest immunity." "Then I'll dry," N said, already taking a towel. Daniel shrugged, amused, and passed him a plate. We stood shoulder to shoulder at the sink like a family that knew how to work in a kitchen. SOAPRINSETOWEL, the choreography of care. It should have comforted me. It made me want to climb out a window. "Graham called you Mr. Calder," Daniel said lightly over the rattle of cutlery. "Makes you sound like a math teacher who throws erasers at kids." "Worse," N said, smile thin. "I like poetry. English, then," Daniel laughed. N. Neither confirmed nor denied. He rotated a glass exactly a quarter turn before setting it on the rack. It was years ago. Different life. The faucet hissed. The dishwasher thumped. The world kept making domestic sounds to drown out the part where my heart recognized the past and wanted to hide. After the kids drifted upstairs, the magnetism of homework and screens reclaiming them, and Daniel went to take out the trash. N. And I were suddenly alone in the kitchen with the plate of bones. "You're shaking," he said. "Stop noticing," I whispered, because I couldn't bear that. Of all the things he'd given me, the skill I loved most in him was the one that hurt me now. He leaned his hip against the counter as if we were just two people discussing whether the tide would be late. "This is handler's work," he said. "I'll call the bank at 8 tomorrow when they open. We'll go in if we need to. You'll change passwords. I'll clean up the trust side." "Handler?" I repeated. "Is that what you do now?" He thought about it. "I used to think I taught people. Then I thought I fixed things. Now I try to untangle them before they become knots." "And how's that going?" I asked. I couldn't help it. The sarcasm like salt I threw to keep slugs from the basil. His smile didn't quite make it. "Tonight?" "Poorly." Daniel came back in, the cold from the bins on his hands, and pressed them to my cheeks because he knows I overheat in kitchens. "Better?" he asked. "Yes," I lied again, and it got easier, and I hated that. We made coffee as if the night could be dragged into reason. Daniel asked N about the after-school pilots. N described reading circles and worn carpeting and the way some kids pretend not to like stories until you give them a detective with a chipped tooth. He used the word attendance, and my skin went hot because he always used to say, "Let's do attendance for our hearts." And the room number on the door had been 212, and suddenly the stitches my life had been holding with were tugging loose. "Where did you teach?" I asked, aiming for casual, landing somewhere near interrogative. "Here and there," he said. "Ridgeview?" The name left my mouth before I decided to say it. It tasted like gym floor and winter hands and the smell of dry erase markers. He went still. It was microscopic, a muscle near his temple, a coast current shifting far offshore. "For a while," he said. I nodded like someone who had confirmed the weather. Inside, a trapdoor that had been closed for years creaked. When I was 18 and certain I was background in my own story, there had been an English teacher who took poems out of my hands like fragile birds, who heard me even when I whispered. There had been no scandal, no breach, just a canopy of attention I moved under gratefully. When I graduated, I left the attention behind. or told myself I had. It didn't occur to me that attention could leave a map. Daniel yawned, properly tired. "Tomorrow's early," he said apologetically. "I need to set out by 7 to make the faculty meeting." "Nathan, you're welcome to linger, but I'm collapsing," and took the hint with grace. "I should go," he said. "Thank you for dinner." And he turned to me in the doorway, an infinitesimal angle so the kids wouldn't catch more than they already had. "Don't click any emails tonight." "Not even the bank. Let me take it in the morning, okay?" "I'm not a child," I said. "I know," he answered, and the softness in his voice made me wish for water I could disappear under. "I'm just asking." When the door clicked shut behind him, the house exhaled and then held its breath again. Daniel kissed my hair. "He's intense, right?" he said, laughing quietly. "Good intense. The town needs that." I pressed my face into his shirt. He smelled like soap and trash night, and the clean, ankle-deep water of a life we'd built. He stroked my back. "We're okay," he murmured. "Bank glitches, Tuesday dinners, kids who forget chargers. This is just life." I thought of the duplicate device, the form I'd signed, the unseen hand changing a payee's name, the email that had said, "You still have good taste in music," and the old small room in my memory, 212, the window that stuck in winter, the shelf of paperbacks with lines under my name, Lena K., where a teacher had written yes in the margin at least once a week. Later, when the house was dark and Daniel's breath went steady, I padded downstairs to the bottom shelf where we keep the photo albums and things that don't go anywhere else. There's a box labeled "School" in my handwriting from a decade ago. Inside, diploma sleeves, Mia's first macaroni card, Leo's misshapen clay turtle, and a stack of old programs and yearbooks that still smell like dust and cafeteria pizza. I slid the Ridgeview Senior Yearbook from the middle, navy cover, silver letters scraped thin by time. I sat at the table with only the light above the stove and opened to the faculty page because the mind is an organ that pretends not to know what it knows while walking toward it anyway. The pictures were a grid of faces frozen in the middle of their own lives. Smiles that looked real, smiles that didn't, ties that had been chosen in the dark. My finger ran down the columns until it stopped itself. Calder, Nathaniel. English, 2008 to 2011. The photo was a younger version of who had eaten my chicken and dried my plates. No beard then. A tired kindness in the eyes that matched the tired kindness now. Beneath the photo, the quote he'd chosen for the yearbook committee. "We tell ourselves stories in order to live." Didion. My chest went hollow, as if a wave had scooped out sand underfoot. I touched the page as if touching might change the print. On the next page, student quotes. Favorite teacher, Mr. Calder next to 3 names. One of them circled in pen from some long ago night. Not my handwriting. A curlier, harder loop. Jealousy from a different decade. I closed the book too fast, then opened it again because courage is sometimes just this, turning the page one more time. I went to the literary magazine spread, Tide Lines, and found a poem printed under my maiden name. His red pen had once curved over drafts of it. Tight in the middle, the last image sings. And I'd stuck the pages on my wall with painter's tape and took them down the day before graduation because I didn't know how to keep them without looking pathetic in my new life. Upstairs, a floorboard creaked. Leo on his way to brush his teeth he'd forgotten. I slid the book back into the box, then stopped, pulled it out again, and tucked it under my robe because fear makes you greedy for proof. In the kitchen, my phone lit with a new email. Subject: about the playlist. From N. Calder. The preview line read, "Do you remember Maps by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs?" You asked me what the title meant, and I said, I didn't open it. I put the phone face down and walked to the sink because if I stood still, I'd start shaking. The tap was a bright line of sound in the dark house. I let it run for a few seconds, then turned it off as gently as if it had a throat. I went to the front door, flipped the lock, and checked it twice, the way I do when Daniel travels. On the hall table, under the spare keys, was the business card Graham had handed me at the door, white with a blue line like a horizon. Mariner Education Trust on top. At the bottom, in smaller type, a mailing address. Ridgeview School Foundation, 14 Point Lane, Ridgeview, School. Not just Mariner, not just education as a concept. The map had lines I recognized. The next morning would bring the bank, the review, the in-person we could not smile our way out of. But that night, in the kitchen with the yearbook under my robe and a business card bleeding truth on the table, I realized that what I had thought was a recent storm had a coastline I'd stood on before. A draft curled the card's edge. The window wasn't latched properly. I lifted the catch and a gull's cry knifed into the room, too sharp for the hour. I latched the window and set the Ridgeview yearbook on the table like a centerpiece, daring myself to look away. I didn't. I ran my finger over Calder, Nathaniel one more time, and heard a voice in my head say the way he used to. Attendance. He always paused after my name, the kind of pause that shouldn't mean anything. Elena? He'd tilt his head, making sure I was there. The L in my name generous in his mouth. The house settled. The fridge hummed. My phone lit again, insistent. New sign-in attempt blocked. Then another. Password reset successful. Then a third. We need to talk before Daniel hears the wrong version. N. My pulse thudded in my wrists, loud as a neighbor knocking. I picked up the phone to call him and saw instead a new message at the very top. Not from N. Not from the bank. From alumni at ridgeviewschools.org. Subject: Faculty Reunion, 2008 to 2012 cohort. The first line of the preview. Looking forward to seeing you, Mr. Calder. The phone buzzed in my hand like a trapped thing. Upstairs, Daniel turned in his sleep and murmured my name the way people do in dreams where they can still fix everything. I stared at the screen, the yearbook, the card. All the pieces laid out like clues a child could thread together. And I felt the old classroom in my chest open its door. And then, in the quiet of the kitchen, I heard footsteps on the porch. Not Graham's brisk official steps. A slow, measured tread, like someone counting each board. And the handle turned once. Testing. I stood, heart flicking, and went to the hall. The porch light clicked on with a small electric throat clear. Through the frosted glass, a silhouette, familiar, waited. Coat collar up, head slightly bent the way he does when he is about to say something kind that will hurt anyway. Lena, he said through the door, voice low. And with that one syllable, I heard the echo of an earlier version of my own name. The one spoken at roll call, in a room with a narrow view of winter and a teacher who took attendance like a vow. Don't open it, I told myself, and my hand still moved toward the lock. The handle shivered once more, then stilled. Lena, he repeated. Not loud, not insistent, gentle. The way you'd call a dog you're sure still remembers your whistle. I pressed my palm flat against the wood, as if I could feel his warmth through paint and grain. The house was sleeping behind me. Daniel upstairs, the kids sprawled in their rooms, the hum of the fridge, the slow breathing of a life I'd promised to guard. I didn't open it. The silhouette shifted, waiting. I waited too, like a coward hiding from her own reflection. Finally, the boards sighed as he stepped back. The porch light hummed, then clicked off, and the night went thick again. In the morning, Daniel was already dressed, tie neat, coffee steaming on the table. He looked up from his laptop and smiled. "You slept?" "Enough," I said. My voice felt borrowed. "We'll swing by the bank this afternoon, okay?" "After my meeting. I'll handle it." He reached across, squeezed my hand, and kept typing like the world was a contract that could be managed with clauses. I nodded, grateful for the ordinary. But when I glanced at my phone, a new email glared back. "You should tell him before he learns it from someone else." I deleted it without opening. At the branch, the woman behind the desk smiled as though we were regulars, not suspects. She slid a printout across the counter. "Here's the duplicate device," she said. The IP was local, Ridgeview again. "Looks like a login from an old iPhone. Did you ever restore a backup to a new phone without renaming?" Daniel shook his head. "We upgrade every couple of years, but we clear the old ones." Her smile stayed in place. Professional. "Then we'll file this under unauthorized. We'll lock the duplicate. Passwords reset. Two-factor enabled. No further transfers until the payee provides documentation. You'll need to sign here." Daniel signed. I took the pen, my hand shaking, and signed too. As I slid the form back, my eye caught the line labeled "Contact Person for Payee." It was typed neat. Calder, Nathaniel. Director, Ridgeview Educational Programs. My stomach clenched. Ridgeview again. Daniel followed my gaze. "So our dinner guest has titles," he said, amused. Should have asked him to bring a resume. I forced a smile. That night, after dinner, after kids, after dishes, Daniel fell into sleep beside me. I lay awake, the room ticking with small sounds. Pipes, wind, the sea muttering against the seawall. At 1:03 a.m., my phone buzzed. A voicemail, no text, from a number saved only as N. I shouldn't have listened. I pressed play anyway, his voice lower than usual, tired. "Lena, you know who I am. You've always known, even if you didn't let yourself. I never meant for it to be this tangled. I didn't lie about everything. The fund's real, the grants are real. But yes, Ridgeview, I was your teacher. I shouldn't be here, not like this. But you kept walking into the places where I still lived, and I couldn't stop myself from answering. Tomorrow, Graham will tell Daniel more than I wanted him to hear. I thought you deserved to hear it from me first. I never stopped. Seeing you." The message ended with a faint exhale, like chalk dust settling. I lay in the dark, chest hollow, the old classroom inside me alive again. The way he'd tilt his head, the way he'd pause on my name, the way his eyes had made me feel like I wasn't background after all. And now, here he was, years later, not as a memory, but as a man in my kitchen, in my phone, in my husband's trust. By morning, the news had spread the way small towns pass secrets, in fragments, in cautious tones. Daniel came home early, paper in his hand, jaw tight. "Did you know?" he asked carefully. that Nathan used to teach at Ridgeview, that he left under strange circumstances. I swallowed hard. He held up the paper. It was a clipping, old, scanned badly. English teacher resigns amid controversy. No misconduct confirmed. The words blurred. Daniel's voice was soft, not accusing, just unbearably kind. Lena, you've been sending money to him, and he's not who he said he was. Tell me why. I wanted to say I felt invisible. I wanted to say it wasn't about leaving him. It was about being seen. I wanted to say I didn't realize until it was too late that I'd been answering to an old gravity. But the kids were in the next room, pretending not to listen. The gulls were loud outside. The world was waiting for a sentence that could hold all of it. So I told the truth. I knew him before. He was my teacher. And when he showed up again, I didn't stop it. Because he made me feel like I mattered. And I was stupid enough to think that didn't take anything away from us. Daniel's face broke. Not in anger, not in rage, but in grief, like someone watching a boat drift out without them. Silence filled the house, heavy as tide. A week later, the bank cleared the account. The transfers were flagged, the fund held under review. N left town. Some said back to the city. Some said nowhere. Graham stopped by once more, expression careful, to assure us the trust would continue without him. Daniel moved into the guest room, not slamming doors, not shouting, just leaving space between us like a sandbar forming overnight. The kids avoided questions, their eyes sharp, their phones busier. And me. I walked the point each evening, the lighthouse blinking, the gulls laughing, the sea breathing its endless story. I carried the yearbook once, then left it in the donation box at the bookstore because I couldn't keep it in the house anymore. Sometimes in the cafe the bell chimes and I half expect him to walk in. Sometimes when the bank app buzzes, my chest still jolts. But mostly I live in the silence I created, because the worst part of an affair isn't the lies or the discovery. It's realizing the person you betrayed wasn't blind. They trusted you. And that trust, once broken, doesn't sound like glass. It sounds like paper tearing, soft, final, impossible to tape back together. And in that silence, I hear my own name, spoken the way it once was in a classroom long ago. Attendance called, head tilted, voice soft, and I wish I had never answered. And that's where we'll stop for today. Secrets never stay hidden forever, and this family is about to learn just how fragile trust can be. Don't miss the next part of the story. It only gets more intense from here. This was Lily. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.